Hello Capricorn, welcome to Sweet Tea Astrology and Tarot. My name is Erica. Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you found me. This is your mid-March 2017 video forecast where I'm going to be pulling some tarot cards and some oracle cards for you to help finish out the energetic stories that the cards are trying to bring forth for us. I've already spoke about the astrology in the March 2017 video. If you haven't watched that, I encourage you to go do that. I'll have it linked up above for you sometime during this video. But with all that being said, Capricorn, why don't you sit a spell so we can talk about your cards? Okay, so Capricorn, we are now under the influence of a Venus retrograde as I shuffle these cards. I encourage you to go check out that Venus retrograde video. I'll have it linked as well for you if you have not watched it already. And it's a good thing for you to go back and recheck it because this Venus is going between Aries and Pisces. Venus is still in Aries right now. And I will alert you in the monthly astrology videos as to when she moves backwards into Pisces, but that has not happened just yet. So, getting a really good shuffle on these cards. They've been cleansed and cleared, as they always are before I shoot these videos. Just trying to make sure that I got them well shuffled for you. What I'm going to do now is cut this deck and go ahead and start pulling your cards. I'm going to do 6 cards total for you. The bottom card always represents the underlying theme or overarching energy of the spread. And now we're going to do the top 5, but they each have positioning and they represent certain things. So the first card represents the present. The second card represents the past. The third card represents the possible obstacles. The fourth card represents the possible help in the situation, and the fifth card represents the possible outcome. Alright, Capricorn, now I'm going to shuffle for you the Divine Circus Oracle deck. This deck is by Elena Fairchild, and if you are a viewer of my channel, you've seen this deck before. I'm a big fan of Elena Fairchild's work. The majority of the decks that I own are by her hand or by her guidance. She commissions different artists to do different artwork on her cards. There was quite a big conglomeration of artists that she commissioned for the Divine Circus Oracle deck, but the artistry done on the Crystal Mandala deck is done by an artist named Jane Marin. I'm going to cut the Divine Circus Oracle deck for you and pull your card for you now, Capricorn. And finally, from the Crystal Mandala Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. Venus is retrograding through your 4th house of home and family or roots and foundations in Aries right now. So the focus is on home and family. Your love, values, money, beauty, and harmony issues are being reassessed in that area of life for you, amongst the other signs that, that you have as well. I'm cutting the Crystal Mandala deck for you now. There was a card that did not want to come up with the rest of the group, so we're going to use that as yours. Okay, Capricorn, what I'm going to do now is hit the pause button, flip these cards over, do the tarot math, and I will be right back with your story. Hang tight, y'all. I'll be right back. Hi, lovely Capricorn. I'm back with your cards, so let's get started. The underlying theme or overarching energy for your reading this mid-March is the Magician card. The Magician card is the first card in the Major Arcana. The Magician is representative of the planet Mercury, which deals with thought, movement, and communication. Mercury just moved into your 4th house. The 4th house is ruled by Cancer traditionally, and it's the house of your home and family or your roots and foundations. Home is where you live or where you consider home to be. Family is who you share that home with. That can be your parents, your partner, your spouse, or your children, fur babies, house guests, housemates, or roommates. Your internal roots and foundation can be your bones or your teeth or your tightly held philosophies, religion, religious beliefs, and your ideals. The external could be the roots or foundations around your house, the actual foundation of your house, or the structure of your house. That could be the studs, the plumbing, or the electrical wiring as well. And the roots and foundations, obviously outside, that can be the foundation of your home, but also the roots of the floral and the floral variety and the trees around your home as well. This card in itself, like I said, is representative of the planet Mercury, and it also deals with being able to problem solve. It also deals with manifestation principles, the as above, so below law of attraction type situation, because you have each of the tools in the deck right now at your disposal to make things better, and magicians use all sorts of skills, tips, and tricks to make magic in their lives, and that can be called alchemy, if you want to choose it that. But this is basically the idea of being very perceptive and also being able to make connections as well. You may be also influenced or dealing with, possibly receiving the enlightenment or at least the insights from a Scorpio. Whenever I see this infinity sign, I see Scorpio. The Scorpios rule the 8th house, and you don't have any 8th house energy per se playing out right now for you, but it doesn't mean that a Scorpio is not in some way influencing you or helping you to make the bigger connections. And a little side note, I happen to be a Scorpio rising, so that could just be that you're watching this video right here. So, hi y'all, how you doing? The number 1 in this card represents your first house, and you are experiencing a Pluto transit through your first house. Pluto deals with deep change, deep transformation, and deep renewal. When I think of a plutonic change, I think of coastal erosion because it is something that is occurring at all times, but we do not notice it without a meta perspective or without seeing a before and after picture. The first house is ruled by Aries, and it is the house of your personality, your physical embodiment of who you are, and it's how the world sees you. It literally is your personality, your appearance, and your physical body. Mercury just moved into Aries as well. So, now the center card is the present energy at play, and it is the first card as well of the major arcana. And I say that because it's actually listed as the 0 card. But the Fool is representative of the planet Uranus. The planet Uranus is also in Aries, and this is your 4th house, the 4th house of home and family or roots and foundations. This Fool card represents being naive, probably like trusting to a fault, even somewhat innocent. And by being naive, you can put on a false sense of innocence or a false sense of trusting and end up being played the fool in the end. Understand this, Capricorn. Your underlying theme is the magician, making connections, perceptions, that sort of thing. And now innocence, trust, and naivety. These are the first 2 cards of this spread. These are the first 2 cards of this of the major arcana of the tarot deck. You have Venus going retrograde in your 4th house as well. You may be looking at where you were once innocent and now making connections. You may be seeing where you were once naive and now being perceptive. Some of you may be dealing with some deja vu situations. This Fool is also looking to the past placement card as well, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But understand that the path that this individual is on right now is fractured and not very well constructed at all. Could very well fall off this cliff without paying attention because his eyes are focused up here and not down here. Didn't bring a whole lot to make sure that he's going to be well sustained or seen after as well on this trip. Not paying attention to the responsibilities in their world either. Now, Capricorn, I see this card as a eclipse card. I also see this as a new moon card. We did have eclipses in February. For you, You had an eclipse in your third house. That was a solar eclipse in Pisces. And there was also a lunar eclipse in Leo at the beginning of the month. I can't remember where that placement was. I'm sorry, y'all. But you may want to check back at your February videos if you've undergone a lot of things that have been stressful, challenging, or quickly changing for you. My candle in my geode in this just went out as well. Some of you may be dealing with loss, or like the light has gone out in one way or another in situations in your world. The card that represents the past is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. The 9 is representative of the 9th house on the astrological wheel, and that is ruled by Sagittarius. When I think of the 9th house, I think of your worldview expanded through study or travel, but I also, it's the house of your long-distance trips, adventures, questing. It's higher education. It is the study of foreign languages, legal system matters, political system matters, astrology, religion, philosophy. It's also the house that rules foreign people, foreign places, and foreign things. Now, Capricorn, you had a full moon in Virgo in your 9th house. This happened just this weekend. Probably a lot of feelings of worry, anxiety, or judgment, possibly coming through means of communication in that 9th house. Or you could be dealing with it now. Pentacles represent earth sign energy, and the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and you, Capricorn. When I see this card, I think of her as the Minor Arcana Empress card because she has enough resources around her and at her disposal to make her world better. She's also the kind of individual that even if she doesn't have a whole lot of resources at her disposal, she uses what she has and is effective in it. She can make her world better. She can take the things that are in the... this is a type of individual, and I say she because she's showing up as a female in this card, but this is the type of individual who can take what's in their pantry the day before payday and still make a decent meal out of it to where everyone is fed and it doesn't feel like you're eating leftovers or eating the last pickings, if you will. Now, the Pentacles can represent money, but it can also represent your resources. And chiefly among our resources is our health. So, without our health, we can do nothing else. It could be that this individual is looking... Okay, here's where I said the Fool was looking to her. The Fool could be looking to this individual who is in the reverse, or who has been in the reverse, about their health, their money, or their resources. This Fool could be looking to this individual who's having a hard time, expecting the Fool may be expecting the individual having a hard time to help them out, and this person from the past may not be able to anymore. I'm sorry about that background noise. That's my neighbor's air conditioner and heating unit, and whenever it turns on, it sounds like the world's going to end. So, I know that in... I know that with the Pluto transit going through your first house, I know several Capricorns who are dealing with a lot of sadness right now. A lot of loss, in fact. Because Pluto is that deep change that is constantly taking place. It can feel like you have undergone or have lost a lot, or there's been a lot of changes in your world that have happened. I know that there are some Capricorns that have lost actual individuals in their lives that have passed on, and it could be that for this situation, the Fool is looking to the past for the money or the resources from the past, and they may not get it, or it may not be enough, or there may be taxes that are taken out. It may be to where you are expecting one thing, but going to be receiving something entirely different, and I say that because of the outcome card, but we're not quite there yet. Now, the underlying theme, or the outcome, because this card represents the outcome. This is the Nine of Cups. The outcome is the Wish card reversed. So that's troublesome as well. Also, let's look again to the numerology. You have 2 9s in here, and you had a full moon in your 9th house. This full moon was in Virgo, and Virgo rules the 6th house on the astrological wheel. There's going to be some synchronicity spoke about in that in just a minute. But Virgo rules the house of work and health, or the competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide. And like I said, health is wealth. Without that, you can do nothing else. That ninth house is dealing with your long-distance trips, adventures and questing, the higher education pursuits, your worldview expanded through study or travel. You could be looking at going back to school, possibly wanting to go back to school, or using this money or the resources from the past to be focusing on something like that in the ninth house endeavor. But the outcome is not looking very good for y'all. I'm sorry about that. I prefer to give you the information as I see it. I believe knowledge is power, and I do my best to empower my viewers with what is coming up. Also, let's look to the fact that both of these individuals are wearing red hats. Do you see that? She's wearing a red hat. He's wearing a red hat. Whenever I see the color red, I think of the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And we do have Venus going through Aries right now. Aries rules the head, so when I see a red hat, that makes me really think of Aries. And because Venus is going through there, we don't just have Venus in Aries. Right now we've got Venus and Mercury in Aries, and by the end of the month we will have the sun moving in there as well, and then there will be a new moon. So a lot of focus on this fourth house energy of home and family, roots and foundations. The cups represent, in this card, water sign energy, and the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So the outcome could be that you are dealing with a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces who is dealing with feeling as though their wishes have been kind of thwarted or taken off the track in one way or another. I like to see this individual as fat and sassy and happy about it, being a collector, having everything that they want, but just missing that last piece to the puzzle, that last piece of the collection. Not that they need it, but at this point, they've made it thus far, so why not? It could be that you're going around trying to collect memories, For some of you, you could be trying to keep the memory of another loved one alive in the eyes of, say, your children, or something to that effect. I happen to know a Capricorn rising right now that is dealing with the loss of her mother, and her mother was central not only in her world, but her daughter's world, and she is killing herself, pretty much, trying to make sure that she is playing the role of not only mother, but grandmother. And that's a difficult balance to achieve. She's exhausted all the time, and it's understandable. This reading is not for her, but it's an example, and it gives an idea as to what I'm trying to bring forth for you in this story. The fact that being a little naive about things can be a bad thing for you. I would encourage you to embrace the idea of the Magician over the Fool any day, every day. Now, the card that represents a possible help in this situation is the Queen of Cups in reverse. The Queen of Cups is an emotionally intelligent, possibly intuitive, maybe psychic individual. I see this person as someone, especially in this position being the help, could be someone who is of the sixth sense variety, if you will, but doesn't know it. This could be you. This could be someone close to you. I've found that the majority of people who have those sixth senses, if you will, the sensitives of the world, they have a hard time dealing with their gift, especially if they don't know what it is or how it manifests in their world. And those individuals look for a means or a way of dulling or numbing their senses. Because if you are a sensitive, your senses are a little more tuned than others. And if you are picking up on energetic vibrations or messages that are coming forth, if you are being contacted by loved ones from the other side, that sort of thing, it can be very stressful, especially if you don't understand what's going on. And I see this individual in the reverse as a person who is doing their best to cope with those types of sensitivities. If it is not that, this is someone who is just very emotional, very much in her feels, and could be of the water sign variety, which would be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. I find it interesting that the Fool is upright, but the past, obstacle, and help are all in reverse. So it could be that the Fool is seeing that the situation, the perspective, their perspective could be very subjective, and it could be alienating or making the people around them react in a less than stellar way, would be another way of looking at this. Because when we see the Queen of Cups in her layout, she is looking towards the future. It's like she knows what's going to happen. She may have told you already what's going to happen, and you may have ignored her, Capricorn. Once again, this is very resonant in a situation that I know personally, because I've given this message before to an individual saying you need to be careful with the money or the resources that come to you, because it will go fast. That money went fast, and now more money may be coming in. That money may go fast as well if you are not paying attention to what's going on. Also, when I see the Queen of Cups, I see someone who is very escapist in their MO, if you will. Someone who likes to drink, dull the senses. Someone who is very much has an addictive quality to them, and this is no judgment. We all have our own addictions. Some of it can be sex, some of it can be money, some of it can be drugs, rock and roll, whatever it is, whatever an addictive trait could be would classify under that addictive quality. But that's not to say that the Queen of Cups is a bad individual. She's not. She's just having a hard time with her sensitivity and not knowing how to work it out properly. The possible outcome in the situation, I do not like this for y'all, but I will be honest. Okay, we've got the Five of Pentacles upright. The 5 is representative of the 5th house on the astrological wheel, and that house is ruled by Leo. You may be dealing with a Leo in some way, or it could be playing out in a Leo's money for you. Now, the 5th house I like to think of in a couple of different ways. I think of it as the house of sparks, but I also think of it as having your fingerprints and DNA all over it, because that's where you have the most skin in the game. So the house of sparks, that would be the spark of creation, the spark of life, or the spark of romance. This is the house of your children, your creative abilities, your social life, and your pleasures, where you socially go out and seek pleasure, blow off steam, that sort of thing. It could be that the outcome is that there's been too much money spent in this 5th house, either on children or pleasure seeking or creative endeavors or creative pursuits. The Pentacles represent, once again, our money and resources. Our resources, chiefly among them, is our health. But it's anything that you would expend on another living situation or thing that you care about greatly. Also, when I see this card, I see it as a card of inequality and the difference of perspective. And by that, this individual is hurt, wounded, and is still going through the very same thing that this person is going through. His perspective of the situation is going to be different because he is looking up. Hers is going to be different because she is looking down. Understand that they're going through it together, but their stories, their memories, their recollections of the situation will be different based on what they are focused on at the time. Venus is retrograde in your 4th house of home and family. Venus represents the planet of love, beauty, harmony, money, and resources. It could be that there is a reassessment going on in that house, in your house of home and family, which is affecting your children, which is affecting your social life, which is affecting the way that you seek your pleasure in some way. And you could feel really in lack, or even possibly broke, destitute, in need of charity in some way, feeling locked out in the cold. I see this also as a dark night of the soul card. There are many of you Capricorns that are going through that. A lot of you have experienced loss in one way or another. And any sort of loss of time or money or things that you hold dear to you is very, very important. And one thing that I also want to extend is the fact that Capricorns are known for, y'all are the workhorses of the zodiac. You bust your tails. You work hard and you play harder. And if you're working hard and you're not getting the money that you feel you are owed or deserved for the energetic transaction that is going on, then you aren't allowed to play hard. If you cannot play hard, you are not going to want to work hard. That's just the way the Capricornian mind works. You do have Mars going into the house of Taurus, which is your 5th house. Maybe that you need to have a conversation about your money and resources, and it could be in the vein or the light or through the lens of romance, children, creative endeavors, creative pursuits, etc. Now, I did the tarot math for this spread. It ended up being 24. 2 plus 4 is 6, and that speaks to the 6th house on the astrological wheel, which is ruled by Virgo. And we'll go back to this again because you've got 2 9s in this spread. The 9th house is where that Virgo full moon occurred for you. The 9th house could have experienced some communication that may have resulted in worry, anxiety, or judgment in one way or another. That 6th house is your work and health, or the competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide. You're surrounded by money issues. It looks like it is more money for you than it is your love or relationships. That doesn't mean that for some of you it won't be. You've got a lot of different pieces of the zodiac in you. So just pay attention to what's going on in your chart. Pay attention to what's going on in the signs that you watch, your sun, your moon, and your rising sign here and through other readers, to help give you a better idea as to what's going on in your world for you, Capricorn, because this, what I do are general readings. So, now what we're going to do is transition over to the oracle cards. The first card that I pulled for you from the from the Divine Circus Oracle is the 11 card. This is the Secret of Shinobi. 11. I'll put that there. So, the 11, you aren't having any direct 11th house astrological energy for you, but that doesn't mean that it's not playing out in one way or another. The 11 speaks to the 11th house on the astrological wheel, which is ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius may be important to you in some way or another. Somebody that has that zodiac sign may be the focus or the reassessment that you are looking at through these rose-colored glasses that Venus has put us all under. Now, the Secret of Shinobi is very much like a ninja goddess card, a ninja warrior goddess card, if you will. This card indicates that now is a time for you to use your persuasive techniques over your sheer force of will and dominance. It doesn't mean that you should be dishonest or deceptive, but it means that you need to keep your intentions and your truth to yourself until you see the best way for you to attain your goals. Understand that now is a time for you to hold and keep your cards close to your chest. You should commit to being patient, to being private, and being committed to wait for the right time for you to shine. And Capricorn, you'll know when it's the right time. Understand that the power of persuasion is stronger than the force of will. You've had Mercury in your 3rd house at the beginning of March, and it is now in the 4th house. If you are trying to persuade someone, then the best way to do it is to explain your argument from the perspective of how this choice will better impact their world, as opposed to saying, this is what I want to do, address it or frame the situation as, this is how it's better for you. More often than not, people will go for a persuasive type argument in that regard, as opposed to, this is what I want. If you present it as something better for your listener, then they will be more likely to be receptive to it. And that is a key tip from a master debater. Ha ha ha. If I had a penny for every time I heard that joke, I swear to God I would be a millionaire. But anyways. So we've got the Secret of Shinobi card. Just be a ninja. Adopt the ninja mentality. Not everybody has to know everything that's going on. From the Crystal Mandala card deck, I pulled for you the number 3 card, which is the Archangel Anael, and the pink Calcite card. This is dealing with acceptance, and it brings forth the Crystal Angel's messages in the vibratory form of 444. The 444 message basically means that the angels have your back. It is also indicative of a time of stability, earthly reality and grounding, and also building a strong foundation for your spiritual growth. Now, what's interesting is that Saturn is going through your 12th house right now, and that is the house of your, that can be the house of the 12th house is a very dark house. It's the darkest house on the astrological wheel to see because it's the house of your dreams and your repression and your subconscious. It's also your self-limitation, your self-undoing, and it's a karmic house. The number 3 deals with the Gemini-ruled house of your communication, short-distance trips, siblings, cousins, and neighbors. It also speaks to your communication devices, how you speak, how others interpret you, how you interpret them, and it is how you get to and from work, not only the path that you take, but also the vehicle. You have Neptune, the planet of nebulousness, illusion, imagination, and also addiction in the 3rd house. I would say be very careful when you're driving. Be very careful with your boundaries, period. Because boundaries are important and they should be respected, especially Capricorn, with Saturn being your ruling planet. It insists that boundaries be respected. This card indicates that the gift of acceptance is truly divine. When you are present, you can see more realistically and you are able to respond more effectively with awareness. Even if a situation is challenging to you, your acceptance is the key to transforming it. And it can feel like it is in your self-preservation's best interest to resist a situation that appears to be unpleasant or undesirable. But a way to combat this is to ask yourself, how can I best respond to this situation, this person, or this headache? Recognize and understand that acceptance isn't giving up, but it's learning how to fight intelligently from your heart space instead of chaotically from your head space. Soften your heart and loosen your grip on what you are hoping to receive. Think about it much like the idea or the analogy of trying to hold sand in your hand. The tighter you grip it, the easier it falls. Rather, if you relax and accept where you are and what is going on around you here and now, you will be better off for it. Because it is for your learning, not only in love, but in life. Accept it and now respond appropriately. Capricorn, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you already have, I thank you from the bottom of my very grateful heart. I do hope you're well, and I'm sending you lots of love. Please take care of yourself. Please be kind to yourself and save some of that kindness for others, because we're all going through things in our world some of us may never speak about to another living soul. I'll be around for the April videos, but I now have 9 videos to shoot, and that's going to be an endeavor. I want to get at least half of them done today, so send me some good energy. I hope to have these uploaded for you by the evening, and I'll work on the second half tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week if need be, because tomorrow I have classes. So, fingers crossed on all of that. Please take care of yourself. Please be kind to yourself and save some of that kindness for others. I'll see you soon, but until then, take care. Namaste. Bye, y'all, and I love you.